nothing will stand in our way, and our golden age has just begun.
This is Human Events with Jack Posobiec.
Now it's time for everyone to understand what America First truly means.
Welcome to the Second American Revolution.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we're back here. All right, Jack Posobiec, we're back here live, Human Events Daily. We are joined now, very honored to have on the program, Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, thank you so much for joining us.
Delighted to join you. Thank you so much.
Well, and Senator, I appreciate you coming on, and also wanted to say I appreciated your kind words after everything that happened with our good friend Charlie Kirk just 1 month ago.
Yes, and I saw you from a distance at the ceremony at the White House on Tuesday. What a wonderful, wonderful event. And so meaningful to have the president set aside this time to remember Charlie, his wonderful work, to honor his family and Erica, and for the nation to be able to stand and hear those words from the president, from her, and to honor Charlie's commitment to freedom in this country.
Well, I appreciate that as well. And that's right. There were so many people I wasn't able really to get everyone, have a chance to say hi to everyone, but I appreciated you being there. And I know Charlie would have appreciated you being there because so many of the values that you fight for, so many of the things that you stand for and unabashedly stand for, not only in your state, but in our country, are the very same things that Charlie fought for. And it really boils down to those three classics: God, family, country.
Well, you're so right about that. And it was an honor for me to attend Turning Point events and to speak and to encourage others. And it was thrilling for me to know that my grandsons now, who are teenagers, are such fans of Turning Point and followed so closely what Charlie had to say. And bringing back that love of God, family, country, bringing back that optimism for hope and opportunity for all Americans. Indeed, he was doing that and helping our nation to get back on track and to actually have a turning point where we look at that constitutional underpinning, those founding ideals, and recommit ourselves to making certain that we do have a country that is firmly planted on faith, family, freedom, and I add hope and opportunity to that so that future generations have those opportunities, have hope for better days, and that we keep this great American experiment in freedom going.
Well, I think it's exactly right. And by the way, I wanted to just play a quick video here because unfortunately there's been some threats, not only to Charlie and what happened to Charlie, but even to you yourself, Senator. Guys, let's go back to that clip of Senator Blackburn. All right, guys, do we have that? Although they're pulling it up right now, Senator, but really this is something that I think applies to you, applies to a number of senators, where it came in on Jack Smith and this question about how our federal government was weaponized to take out so many people. And of course, we talked about the weaponization against President Trump. We talked about the weaponization against many Trump supporters, but we had no idea that this was going to be used against sitting U.S. senators as well. Guys, do we have that clip?
What we know is this, that the FBI under Joe Biden and under Barack Obama, that they exercised activity that they had no authority to exercise. And as Senator Hagerty mentioned, We know what they did in 2016 to the Trump transition team. And now we find out that after the Mar-a-Lago raid, after the indictment of President Trump, they surveil us, people who support President Trump, members who are all Republicans. But it shows you how out of control and rotten to the core and politicized the FBI had become, and how they had absolutely no problem at all whatsoever with political weaponization. We appreciate the information we've gotten today. We look forward to further investigation on this.
Senator, that was your words just a few days ago. Walk us through, what have you learned since then about this targeting of you personally by Jack Smith?
Yes, and Jack, it wasn't the first time. In 2016, when I vice chaired President Trump's transition, we found out then that the transition team was being spied on, but the Biden DOJ would never give us any specifics about that. Now, what we did find out was that they spied on us after January 4th to January 7th of 2021. The way they did that, in May of 23, they sent a letter to our wireless carriers and demanded, they had a subpoena and demanded our phone records. Everybody we talked to, where we were physically located, when we either made or received a call, and every call and every number that came into us or went out from our phone during that period of time. Now, we also are looking at September. It appears that there's the May date and there's also a September date. In addition to this, I have sent a letter to the D.C. bar regarding Jack Smith and his conduct, and calling for a review by the D.C. bar, filed a complaint with them. In addition, 5 of my colleagues joined me on a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi, requesting that DOJ begin an investigation into the conduct of Jack Smith. And of course, he should be disbarred. The groundwork we are laying are things that would call for his disbarment. And what we know is this is not only an invasion of privacy and an infringement of our free speech, but it is also an infringement of the speech and debate clause. For a wireless company to give your records over and this is not something, we're not criminals, we're not people that were a flight risk, any of that. What they did was to turn those records over, and it shows you how weaponized this CR-15 unit that Jack Smith used as he investigated President Trump, how they were so politicized. And thank goodness Kash Patel has fired everybody that was affiliated with that unit.
Well, I think that's absolutely fantastic that Kash Patel is finally fighting back and and Senator, when it really comes down to it, it's, these people who say, oh, there's President Trump is playing politics with the Justice Department. And I think it's actually the opposite. I think what AG Bondi, what the U.S. prosecutors, and by the way, these are grand juries that have come out, whether it be Bolton, whether it be Comey, whether it be Letitia James, these other cases, these are grand juries that have come out and filed the charges. But what we're talking about here is having one standard of justice for everyone. Isn't it just that simple?
It is indeed, and I am so pleased that that is one of the tenets that AG Bondi is working from every day, one standard of justice. And as she has come before us at Judiciary Committee, she continues to make that point. And Jack, here is the thing. rooting out these individuals that chose to weaponize the federal government against citizens. And bear in mind, if they are doing this to 8 sitting U.S. senators, think of what they're doing to other conservatives. Indeed, we know that of the 92 organizations that they were looking at, Turning Point was one of those organizations. The Republican State Attorneys General Association was another of the organizations they were looking at. And as we look at what happened to the 8 senators, the commonality there, and bear in mind, we still do not have the predicate of why. What we do know is the 8 of us each are Republican. We each have supported President Donald Trump, and we each had valid concerns about the 2020 elections. So that is the common thread for each of us that were placed under FBI surveillance.
And of course, this is the thread that we saw for every single one of his prosecutions, every single one of his targets, and it smacks of the political. And it obviously does, and I think we all knew this from the very start. Senator, we're coming up on a hard break here. I'd love to hold you over to talk more about this,
Sure.
because people, I think, out there in the country are finally pleased and relieved to see their country be restored to balance when it comes to an equal set of rules, an equal standard, and an equal playing field when it comes to the justice system. Right back here, Human Events Daily, Jack Posobiec, Real America's Voice.